red stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Debbie. Now, Chaplain Larry Foster from the Ohio Federation of Fire Chaplains and Liberty Township Volunteer Fire Department will deliver the invocation.
Good afternoon. Will you please join me in this prayer? Heavenly Father, we humbly ask your blessing upon this ceremony and all that it represents. The service and the sacrifice of so many in the care of your children. Please bless those who are honored this day for their service, and bless the families who serve in their own very singular fashion as a support team for their loved ones. We pray, Lord, that as we go through these proceedings, that we remember that it is you who calls us to serve. It is you who calls us to love, and it is you who calls us to follow you. We ask your blessing now, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. On behalf of Governor Mike DeWine, oh, sit down. You can sit. Sorry, forgot that part. On behalf of Governor Mike DeWine, Director of Commerce Sherry Maxfield, Director of Public Safety Tom Stickrath, State Fire Marshal Kevin Reardon, and all the members of the State Fire Council, I want to welcome each and every one of you to the 2022 Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame ceremony and Division of EMS Fire Awards. We are so pleased that we have some of our elected officials. I know we have one who's here. They are here after attending, or probably on their way after attending the State of the State address just a couple of hours ago. And I know that Senator Jerry Serino, Senator, are you here? Hi, there he is back there. Turn around and wave at Senator Serino, everybody. Turn around and wave. He braved the rain, he made it. Thank you so much for being with us. And as I said, there are a lot of others, I'm sure, who will be joining us after the State of the State is all wrapped up. Currently, Ohio has more than 50,000 fire and EMS providers committed and dedicated to protecting our communities through the provision of a fundamental community service emergency response. And it's certainly great and comforting to know that we are being served by this dedicated group of civil servants. Today, we have honored those firefighters who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and soon we will celebrate the first responders and civilians who have gone above and beyond the call of duty protecting the citizens of Ohio. They have stepped up to save a life. We want to thank all you honorees for your service, and we want to thank those who are here to witness the award presentations. Now, before we get to the individual awards, it is my pleasure to welcome Ohio's State Fire Marshal and my new best friend, Kevin Reardon, to the stage.
Thank you, Angela. Let me welcome you again to our 41st annual Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame and Fire Awards ceremony. I would like to thank the Director of Commerce, Sherry Maxfield, for being here with us today, and she's going to join me in a few minutes in passing out some of the awards. We're also happy to see some of our other special guests that are with us. We appreciate the time you're taking to be with us today. And just to give you a little bit of history, this event is revamped from the way we've done it in the past. We moved here to Coastline simply because we really outgrew the space that we were in at the Marshal's office. So we wanted to make this experience better for everybody, for the awardees, for all of those in attendance, and the fire service and EMS professionals in general. We wanted to elevate this experience for all of you. So thank you for being here to help us do that today. As I look around, I am very pleased to see how far we've come. You know, the last couple of years have been pretty tough on us. We've gotten our butts kicked in a lot of ways, but we've come through. We've come through together as professionals, and we figured things out on the fly. We made them work, because that's what we do. So I'm really very, very glad to see us celebrating here together, and it's incredibly exciting to be sharing the fellowship with so many members of this profession as we come together again. It's very, very humbling. As we get ready to celebrate all of these amazing and heroic accomplishments, I must share with you just one of the challenges that we are experiencing in Ohio. And most of you probably have a good idea what I'm going to talk about. The volunteer fire service in Ohio is in crisis. I hear the struggles time and time again as I travel throughout the state. Financial troubles, lacking resources, staffing problems, training issues. These are all big issues to volunteer departments. On the other side of the aisle from the paid fire service, sometimes we take for granted what we have. Volunteers don't take for granted what they have because they struggle for everything that they have, and they're in trouble right now. Here in Ohio, roughly 70% of our 1,180 fire departments are volunteer. So millions of Ohioans are depending on volunteer fire and EMS providers for their care when they call 911. So we need to work together to address some of the challenges that these departments are facing. As a career firefighter, I know the fire service is deeply rooted in tradition, but the challenges of today can only be addressed through some forward thinking and some innovative processes to help make the situation better. There's no real single issue of concern. There are multiple issues within the volunteer fire service, and they're creating challenges that we have never seen before. Never seen before. This is not only an Ohio issue, it's a national issue. But Ohio can and will be the leader and serve as an example of what we can do when we come together to work together for solutions. As the state fire marshal, I will work diligently with everyone involved to identify exactly what those issues are, make recommendations, and explore other options to help secure this vital service for communities throughout Ohio. It's just that important. We have no options at this point. As we see these award winners being honored here, I want to encourage you to also spread the word and be part of next year's ceremony. Your fire department or a fellow firefighter could be recognized for their actions above and beyond the call of duty and exemplifying the best traditions in the fire service. So please talk about us. This award ceremony provides an opportunity for more and more firefighters to participate in honoring the sacrifices that our peers have made every day throughout the state of Ohio. I want to thank all of Ohio's fire service providers for being here today. I thank you for your commitment to serving Ohioans 24/7, and thank you, and I look forward to seeing everybody at next year's ceremony. Now I would like to introduce our Director of the Department of Commerce, Sherry Maxfield.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we have a robust ceremony, so I'm not going to take much time other than to say that fire service is very important to the governor. In fact, he mentioned it today during his State of the State. You can watch it on the Ohio channel. It's taped. And we have some exciting announcements, I think, coming up in the next month or so about the fire service, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Director, but that's my line, stay tuned. That's a TV thing. That's okay. And now, what we've all been waiting for, we're going to honor the Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame award winners. Can you guys work on shortening that name if you want me back next year? Can we come up with something cute and snappy? Okay, all right. Now it is time to honor all our honorees. We produced a video for each honoree, telling their story and celebrating their efforts. And after you learn more about their brave work, then we're going to ask them to join us in the front of the room for the award presentation and a photo op. So let's begin with the Ohio Citizens Award. This award goes to members of the public who, at great personal risk to themselves, are credited with directly saving or attempting to save a life or lives during an extreme fire or emergency rescue situation. We begin with the story of Ronald Matley and what might be the bike ride of his life.
On October 5th of 2021, we received a call from the Delaware Police Department. It turned out it was an explosion of a pickup truck. There was very, very, very heavy damage to the vehicle.
The next day, I started following up with all potential witnesses to the explosion. A lot of people were in the general area during the explosion. No one actually witnessed it, but it was such a large explosion that people from miles away could feel the impact of it and hear it. But pretty much everybody stayed in their cars and kept their distance. When I was talking with a lot of these people on the phone, I kept on hearing about this gentleman who was on his 10-speed bicycle and had kind of rolled up to the area. And some people were saying, I think he may have pulled the victim out of the truck.
I rode up Sawmill Boulevard. I heard a big explosion. There's stuff everywhere, right? And there was a vehicle. It was the remnants of a pickup truck, really, at this point in time. And I got close enough to notice that there was a man laying across the front seat. The doors had been blown off, so it wasn't like I had to move anything to see that, but there was fire starting to creep onto the back seat. So I realized that if I didn't try and do something, that it probably wasn't going to end well. So I just went up to it, I grabbed him by his arms. I probably pulled him 10 or 12, 15 yards away, which seemed safe at the time.
He got hurt in the process of it. He received some burns to his hands and his ankle for it. He saved him from the fire, and he stayed with him until first responders arrived at the scene to take care of him. Most people, when an explosion occurs, they're going the opposite direction or hiding. They're not going towards the incident, and that was pretty amazing.
You know, obviously in my 22 years here, I've seen a lot of different things, and most people tend to not get involved. I made sure he knew that we appreciated what he did.
Mr. Matley is here with us today, is he not? Mr. Matley, please come up and accept your Ohio Citizens Award. Ronald Matley. Congratulations, Mr. Matley. That's amazing. And yes, I would have been one of those people. I would have taken my bike and gone right on the other way. But thank God for people like Mr. Matley. And now let's share Chris Taylor's story, which is nothing short of superhero status. And of course, this story took place on Halloween.
It was about 10 p.m. on Halloween night of 2020 when we got toned out to a house fire on Anderson Avenue. As soon as they were arriving, the dispatchers advised us that they now had to report that there was at least one person pulled from the residence already. It's starting to become a little bit of a joke on the fire ground that a superhero pulled an individual out of the house prior to our arrival, and he's got a cape and everything.
Okay, we were on our way to a costume party, and I was dressed as Homelander from the TV show The Boys off of Amazon Prime. It's just an outfit that looks like an American flag, stars on it, red and blue and white.
It still never clicked for quite some time that, hey, wait a minute, it is Halloween.
We were almost to the party, And then that's when I seen a fire. And I look over, I'm like, Chelsea, there's a fire. Pull over, call 911. I said, I'll be right back. I got out of the car.
Chris saw the fire. He told me, started calling 911.
And the door was already open, so I pulled the screen door the rest of the way open, and I was like, is anybody in here?
Mr. Taylor heard the moans from inside.
I went in, there was flames, literally, I mean, they were close to me when I went in.
Then he actually went inside, found the individual on the stair landing between the first and second floors. He was unconscious and moaning.
So I picked Guy up. I grab him by his pants legs, pull him towards me, and I grab him by the neck with his shirt like back in the back. I lift him up, and I cradle him like he's just a 6-foot baby. And then roughly 2 or 3 minutes after that, the fire department pulled up.
Once he heard a person, he was convinced somebody was inside. He just made a decision to go.
Like, the only thing that ran through my head is this could be somebody's kids in there. It could be an old parent of somebody.
That's just how Chris is. He will go out of his way to save whoever, help whoever. If he could, he'd help everybody because that's just what he wants to do.
He needs to be recognized, but the fire department does not encourage our civilians and our residents to just put their own lives at risk in something so extreme like a working house fire. We would hope that you wait for the fire department, but we also understand sometimes you got to make a decision, and the best decision for you, sometimes like Mr. Taylor, he felt he could make a difference, and he actually probably did. That couple minutes that it took him to go in and pull someone out, I'm 100% convinced that Mr. Taylor actually did save this man's life.
Mr. Taylor, Chris Taylor, please come forward and accept your Citizens Award. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. For a superhero, you clean up real good. Yeah. Capes in the car, y'all, capes in the car. The Ohio Fire Service Valor Award is given to members of the fire service in the state of Ohio who, at great personal risk to themselves, are credited with directly saving or attempting to save a life during an emergency situation above and beyond the normal line of duty. Meet 2 firefighters who were up against a massive battle but were able to make a brave rescue.
We were doing area coverage for Milford at their firehouse when we got the call that came in, structure fire with possible entrapments. And we pulled up to very heavy smoke conditions coming out of the front door of the apartment building. Multiple people out on balconies, smoke coming out of multiple apartments. So we go into what's called rescue mode, and we don't worry about anything but just making rescues. That just becomes the #1 priority.
It was probably one of the top 10 worst scenes I've been on in 30+ years. What I would refer to as the real deal. Miami Township was already on the scene. They were stretching hand lines and throwing ladders, starting to rescue people from the balconies.
We heard the call go out for confirmed entrapment.
The woman trapped was on the 2nd floor directly above the fire that was burning unchecked at that time.
Lieutenant Ellen made the call to not take the hand line in with us. Let's just go in and make the rescue.
Went through very heavy smoke, very turbulent, couldn't see, your hand in front of your face, kind of laying down to be able to see. Todd got to the victim first. I was scanning with the tick.
I found her, she was laying on the floor, trying to hold herself up, trying to crawl forward, I'm assuming. She was semi-conscious, and she was saying something about, well, we thought it was kids possibly, but it ended up being that she had kittens. And then she, shortly after, went unconscious.
We just picked her up, carried her out, got her out to the front door, and they sent us back in with the hand line to try to save the cats. At that point, Todd was going upstairs, pulling the hand line, hurt his ankle.
I was off for 6 weeks.
A dramatic scene, heavy smoke, heavy fire, operating directly above an unchecked fire, and they were able to make a rescue and save a life.
I think we did a wonderful job of everybody just kind of started grabbing ladders, throwing ladders, hooking up 5-inch, and we all kind of just worked together without much being needed to be said in the very beginning. Doesn't usually go like that.
It feels very good to put work in through training and to wanting to get better at your job, and then actually get the opportunity to prove to yourself that you can do that and that you will do that when it comes down to it. And it feels good to know that there's other people with you that will do the same.
Firefighters Ellen and Estep, please come up to accept your Valor Awards. How's your leg? Firefighter Estep, how's your leg? Can he not hear him? How's your leg? You okay? All right. You're moving around kind of swift there. All right. Congratulations to both of you. Our next honoree is Scott Thomas. Listen to the story of how he, along with his team, fought horrific smoke and flames in an effort to save 2 children.
This is not a routine event by any stretch of the imagination. This was an extreme event. We were horribly understaffed, and we did what some departments will send 50, 60 firefighters for, and we did it with 4 of us.
We had actually just backed into Station 34, and we heard the tones going off for house fire with possible kids trapped. As we pulled up, you could see Joey pulling the line off of Rescue 35, hopped off the truck, met him at the door.
I said, hey, there's reported 2 kids trapped upstairs, fire in the basement. He said, all right, so we were going rescue operations at that point in time. I started crawling up the steps with Scott to go get the 2 kids with him. And I said to myself, you know what, if we don't get control of this fire, it's gonna be 4 people and not 2. So I made the decision to send Scott up by himself and go down to the basement by myself.
Captain Upsitnik was in the front yard. He was in command at the time. And there was a hose line going in the front door. And he said that Scott and Joey were inside doing a search. And he asked me if I would take command of the scene.
I headed upstairs, grabbed the little girl, brought her back down. Met Chief Petruzzi.
In 18 years, this is probably one of the smokiest fires I've ever been on. It was ridiculous. He just, as cliche as it sounded, he just kind of erupted from the smoke and had a child in his hands. And he set the child down in the front yard and started doing compressions.
The next thing I knew, Captain Upsitnik was coming down with the second child.
Everybody worked together as a team. I couldn't be prouder of how everybody did. Not everything went as well as we had hoped, but under the circumstances, we did our best job.
That morning, training prevailed. He found that child, got that child out, and started care immediately. And then went back to doing what he had to do. In the fire service, I truly believe that's what we're all about. And that morning it worked.
And then he went back in. Mr. Thomas, please come up and accept your award. And thank you so much for your service. Even though I've seen all these stories, They just get to me. Watching them a second time, third time, just get to me. The Distinguished Service Award is given to Ohioans whose leadership and accomplishments have served as a milestone and are widely recognized and respected in the Ohio Fire Service. This year we have 2 awardees. First up is Donald Alexander, who's been standing up for firefighters since he was a kid and turned into one of the most respected men in the department's history.
I've been a fireman since 1972 when I joined. I've been the fire chief since 1980. But before that, when I was a little kid, like junior high school age and high school, so I would run up here and stop traffic at the Dairy Queen so the fire trucks could get out on the 60 because there's not much yielding to the emergency vehicle program out there.
I grew up around the fire department, so I was just always kind of around Donnie, whether it was going strawberry picking or washing trucks or things like that. We always did something together. Donnie has no kids, but he has 31 of them here at the fire department. In fact, if you tell someone that you're from Duncan Falls, they say, oh, you're one of Donnie's kids then. He's just such a wealth of knowledge. And that's what happens when you've been doing this for 50 years.
Donnie has taught me a lot of things about the fire service. Since I've been on the department for 26 years, the whole fleet has changed. The building has changed since I've been here, and that's compliments to Donnie.
We had an older station that you had to put the doors up manually, and there wasn't enough room, and we decided we needed new ones. And then naturally, after you get a new station, you need new fire trucks.
We've replaced the fleet twice in my time as being chief. We borrowed money back in '89, we bought the one truck. But other than that, everything else we have paid for that truck up front and got a discount because we paid in advance to save the taxpayers money, and the bank doesn't get any interest money out of that program.
He runs a tight ship. The trucks are always clean. Everything's always ready to go. We don't skip doing truck checks. We don't skip making sure, things are functioning. It'd be very, very different if Donnie wasn't around.
Donnie's probably here almost every night of the week doing something, fire reports, keeping up on training records, always doing something to improve our fire department.
Donnie's dedicated his life to the fire department, and that's very hard to find. I mean, people that say they're dedicated to the fire department, they're just nowhere near Donnie dedication. So
the D in Donnie is for dedication. Chief Alexander, please come up and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Chief. Robert Dudley is our next Distinguished Service Award recipient, and his work, as you will come to realize, is truly a family affair.
I remember as a little kid always following Dad's footsteps, coming up here, following him, as he went out the door and watched him go down the street.
He was one of the state's first paramedics, and he'd come home and he was practicing intubation, and he was explaining it to him about all that. God, be a paramedic too.
His kids, his whole family, his wife was part of the ladies' auxiliary here. This was in a family gathering place.
I'm just very grateful for being able to work with my children. That's it. And all of them too. That's what I really like about it. Not many people can say that. Back when I was younger, like the late 60s, I actually worked ambulance in Akron. The fire departments weren't doing it back then. And a friend of mine was on the department out here. He said, why don't you move out here and get on the fire department? So I did that, and that was in June of 1970. Strictly a volunteer department then. Stayed on here ever since. I live in the community. It's my way of giving back to the community, taking care of your friends and neighbors out here.
I think it's not just his service that makes him stand out, it's
his humility in doing that service. The way he sees it, he's just doing his job. He's just helping people and helping his community, and it's not something worth distinction. But I think that alone makes it worth distinction.
Whenever the phone would ring, that person needed help. Their predicament became a priority for Bob to get involved, engage, do something, and make a difference. Try and mitigate this problem. The fire service gets into your blood. It becomes who you are. You live it, you breathe it.
For those that nominated me, for those that selected me, it's quite an honor. Really could not have done it without people that I've worked with over the years, because they helped make it possible.
Captain Dudley, please come up and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Captain. I love that line, fire service is in your blood. Dick Glessner has a career spanning 50 years, and he remains steadfastly committed to his department after inspiring many others to join the fire service over the last several decades. Here is his story.
"50 years ago, some of the folks on the fire department found out that I wasn't going to be away at school in Westerville, Ohio, and they said, how would you like to join the department? My father was on the fire department. Back then we had fire phones, so you kind of got used to the phone ringing when there was an emergency. Once they asked me to join, I thought, hey, this sounds like a good idea.
Dick is, even being on 50 years, he's one of our most active. He's, for the last many years that I can recall, he's one of the top 2 or 3 people as far as run volume. I mean, he made 2 calls overnight tonight that we were just coming, off of, and he's just very dedicated. I don't know what else to say other than dedication is just top notch. He just continues to make calls even after being on 50 years, and probably for a lot of departments that's really unheard of. I just want to thank him for getting me into the fire service. It really is part of a family tradition for our family.
My father was on, I've had uncles on, a lot of family members throughout the years.
Had he not came and asked me to join, I probably wouldn't have ever joined. His overall demeanor is to just help anybody he can, whether it be in our own community in Sterling, throughout the county, in the fire service, or even the state, to help make firefighters better, and that includes training and just better people all around. Helping in the community any way he can, whether it's even not related to the fire service. He's always one of the first people to step up in the community to help out. He doesn't think he deserves anything because he's just doing what he was, taught to do and wants to do, but he's one of those people that never wants to be recognized, but it's time. Not only for his 50 years to the fire service, but just being a tremendous person overall in general.
Well, I thank my nephew for nominating me for this position. I really think there's probably a lot of other people out there that deserve this more than me, but I thank him for doing that, and I thank the community for supporting not only myself, but the fire department.
Chief Dick Glessner, please step forward to receive your award. And Chief, I'm not flirting with you or anything, but for somebody who's been doing this for more than 50 years, you look awfully good. You've held up good. They will never ask me back to do this again, will they? And now we want to introduce you to Dr. Robert Lowe, who has seen it all in the last 2 years and remained calmed through every bit as a medical director in one of the state's largest metropolitan areas in the backyard of where we're sitting right now.
I think one of the interesting aspects of my past was I was an engineer who thought he had some interest in medicine. And I actually went to find out about that by becoming a volunteer EMT. Found out I liked what I was doing, decided to go to med school, decided to do emergency medicine, and decided to become an EMS medical director.
He's been here a couple of years, and knowing what he does on a day-to-day basis, the comfortability that I have to do my job and focus on other things because Dr. Lowe is here with us is so valuable that I can't thank him enough for all the stuff and work he does for us.
The transition at Columbus Fire was unique. It started with I replaced the medical director who had been here for 32 years, so you're replacing a bit of a legend. It led quickly into a project that was already on the books, but a retraining, a redeployment of a cardiac monitor. And
now you throw in the pandemic, the opiate epidemic that we've been experiencing, are the special programs that Columbus Fire has with REACT and Spark and his involvement in those projects. And then we start with the riots in Columbus and how our guys were reacting to the stuff that was going on, our relationship with police, our relationship with other organizations, and how somebody up front needed to stay calm and say, it doesn't matter what A is doing, this is what we do.
I'm very fortunate in that I've had a lot of fantastic experiences, but they've all led to this career decision. We do a lot of things really well, and we just want to take things to the next step.
He's looking at EMS from a total system perspective. He's had a renewed commitment into training, and we're looking at getting advanced skills for our EMS officers that are on the street every day and giving them a higher level of practice.
How does the future of EMS look like? How does the future of out-of-hospital care look like? And I think we're in a great position to influence that, to be on the leading edge of that, and just drive what care looks like in the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Dr. Robert Lowe, please come forward to receive your award. So Dr. Lowe, before you get off the stage, did you replace David Kessig? Oh my God. Okay, so he's gone, right? I know he's not gone, but no. Well, Dr. Kessig, I did a lot of programs for Columbus Fire, and I did a lot with Dr. Kessig, and we had this awful rivalry. He is a Columbus Marion Franklin Red Devil. I am a Columbus South High Bulldog. So we couldn't be in the same room together without doing all this. I hope you and I would get along a lot better. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. James McDonald's love of his work started with a fire phone. He continues to inspire young kids to follow in his footsteps through a very special program, and we are delighted to share his story with you.
I've been brought up in the fire service my whole life. We had a fire phone in our house. That's how it got started, and my mom would actually call the firemen to respond. That's how they went on calls back in the day. And then I became a junior fireman there. They started a program, and I was 13-year-old when I started. I just loved it, and you didn't do it for the money because you didn't get paid, and you did it for the glory of helping out people and people in need.
He's always put people first and the community first before anything else, and him leading by example just showed us how we should be in the fire service to protect the community and each other.
As long as I've known the chief, he's been extraordinary. He's helped this department in many ways through funding, helping guys off shift, on shift. He's a great leader.
The junior fire program seemed to be really good. It educated you to see what a fireman's job was, especially reaching out, helping the community and people that was in need. So when I came here, we started it's called an Explorer program now, and you have to have it sponsored through the Boy Scouts of America.
Chief McDowell's just been completely supportive of that Explorer program.
We have 2 stations here, and I let them utilize the basement at Station 2. They do EMS scenarios, they run them through fire scenarios, they pull hose, and then if they're interested, of course, when they get in school in the junior year, they can start into the fire and EMS program here in Lake County. And then when they graduate, they can have their certificate, so they'd be able to start working somewhere.
We've pulled some of our part-time personnel from that program.
There's been a lot of other Explorer posts that's actually come and visited our post to see how he has such a successful program.
I mean, it's just those little things that I believe makes them stand beyond other fire chiefs.
A lot of guys in my position forgot where they come from. Treating your personnel is the most fairest thing, and they're the ones that are going to make or break you. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful.
He's a very humble individual. He doesn't like to be recognized for these things, but I think it's just one of those extra steps that we could do to get him honored for the things that he's done for this department, this community, and the surrounding communities.
I love that community approach to leadership. Chief McDonald, please come up and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Chief. Now we're going to introduce you to David Molden, whose work in the military brought him into the fire service and to this moment. He would tell you that he's retired, but his commitment and work to fire prevention continues.
I went into the military, the U.S. Navy, in 1976. And while I was in the Navy, I did some volunteer work as a volunteer firefighter. I did some volunteer work as a paramedic and EMT in Virginia Beach. So it was kind of like a dual track for 21 years. And then I focused on the fire service after I retired from the military in '97. I joined a fire department in German Township in Clark County, Ohio. And I worked there for 12 years as a part-time person, as a fighter medic. I also did their inspection program for them. 2003, December, I was hired as the fire chief of Wayne Township Fire and Rescue. And I was there till October of 2020 when I retired.
When he comes back to Ohio, he's working part-time for 2 neighboring communities as their fire prevention officer. So I don't know if you'd really call it retirement. I'd say very, very part-time work is what he's doing right now. But it's still in the fire service, and his commitment continues.
His strongest skill is by far grant writing. I think in our area, southwestern Ohio, nobody comes close to the chief in grant writing.
He brought, his grant writing skill. I saw a great improvement when he was hired, and he set the standards on how a department should be ran.
We brought, for a small rural community, about $3.3 million in grants over the 17 years I was the fire chief. It included a couple of fire vehicles, a lot of equipment, and so forth. So I was very proud of that factor.
He was instrumental in helping me to develop myself as a organizational leader and in a management position. Under Chief Molden, I learned a lot about what it's like to run an organization, how to actually lead an organization, develop people, and really got into training and education on a lot broader scope. And certainly for an area this size, he was a very much needed inspiration for not only our department, but other departments in this area.
I'm sorry I can't be there. I'll be in the French Polynesia when the award ceremony is going on, but it was a trip I put off for 2 years. It was my retirement present to ourselves. And then COVID hit, and so it got put off, and so we're just not putting it off this time. We're going.
Chief David Molden. And as you and as he told you, he couldn't be here today. Now, I don't understand choosing French Polynesia over the lovely, warm, and sunny weather that we have right here in Columbus today. I think he lost out on that one, but we certainly do accept the award on his behalf, and we congratulate him for his years of service in his retirement. Patrick Sweeney is our next award recipient in the Distinguished Service category. He also works in a major metro area in the state of Ohio, and the pandemic thrust him into new leadership opportunities. He, in turn, delivered for his department and for his community.
He said to me one day when he was of age, he had like 21, he said, Dad, would you mind if I joined the fire department? I said, I would love it. And the rest is history.
I started off, as many firefighters do. I was part-time in a number of departments here in Cleveland. I was 47 years old when I made chief, and it's been a great opportunity ever since, really.
He and I moved up in this position 8 years ago together. He became a chief, I became assistant chief, and it's been a wonderful ride, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
You constantly have to be a student of the fire service. I feel like I've had a really good opportunity to kind of stay engaged in the fire service through professional development training, college courses, degrees, going to the National Fire Academy, to the State Fire Academies.
He brings so much to the table. The leadership that he has shown through the pandemic has been nothing short of phenomenal, not only within our city, but county-wide.
He's personally responsible for probably keeping everybody in the county in PPE in the early stages of this pandemic. He stepped up and wrote the grant and organized everything for the chiefs and for the other departments. He's done a lot of work on a very high level to keep people safe throughout these last 2 years.
His technical expertise, his hard work, dedication, leadership, but I think what really distinguishes the chief is his ability to sympathize and empathize with those that he serves in our community.
What I'll tell you what really makes him a great leader, though, is that he cares about people. Because you know he cares about you, you're willing to do anything with him.
This is just another opportunity to be proud of my son. That's exactly it. He's presented us with many opportunities to be proud of him, and this is certainly one of them.
I know that I speak on behalf of our residents, our businesses, our employees, just to congratulate the chief on a well-deserved honor for all that he does for our community.
Chief Patrick Sweeney, please come forward to accept your award. You brought some friends with you. I don't know, we may have to get security in here for this. It's like, I was gonna say, that looks like a rowdy bunch. I think I partied with those guys. Some of them look awfully familiar. Congratulations, Chief, that's wonderful. Next up is Daryl Yater, who spent time serving as a first responder with a different agency at the very beginning of his career, but ultimately that work led him to a commitment, of course, to fire service, a commitment that continues to this day.
Well, Chief Yater is a fireman's fireman. He will mentor you and help you fix what you did wrong and make sure that you don't do it that way again.
I was a full-time deputy sheriff and volunteer for Madison Township. As a deputy, I responded to calls in Madison Township. On getting there, I saw that many times they were short-handed, and show up with maybe 2, 3 people, and they were trying to fight a fire. As deputies, we were dragging hose for them and trying to help them out. I needed to learn a little bit more about what they do so I could try to help them out. And so I joined the Madison Township Volunteer Fire Department, and that's when my fire service started. I love the work. I love being a fireman. The excitement of not knowing what the call was going to be, then the excitement of what can I do to make things better for the people here. It doesn't feel like I've been doing it for 50 years because it's still been fun.
It's in his blood. He just loves the fire service. He loves the firemen that work for him, and he works with and works around, and he can't stay away from it.
I came in here and we passed a levy in 2012, which allowed us to go part-time. So we started building the department from volunteer to part-time and trying to expand the services here for the citizens.
He's an asset for the city of Trent.
I'm very honored. It's not that I want to be recognized for what I do because I enjoy doing it. I'm not looking for anything other than to make a difference here.
The only fault I have with Chief Yater right now is he's not 20 years younger and we can't keep him longer.
I still enjoy trying to make the department better so that the community is better. And I'm going to continue as long as my health holds out. I don't have any plans right now of officially retiring again. I still have some plans for the future for this department, and I would like to try to see that through, and then maybe I'll step down.
Just maybe, not definitely, just maybe. Chief Yater, please come up and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Chief. I love these stories of 50 years plus service. That is inspiring. The Ohio Fire Service Instructor of the Year Award honors an Ohio Fire Service instructor who has demonstrated outstanding teaching characteristics and has made a major impact on the fire education at the fire department and local fire charter. Our honoree is actually a dual award winner today. You've heard part of his story. Now you're going to learn more about Dick Glessner, the teacher.
When I reached out to Chief Glessner and said, hey, can you just get me some dates of stuff for Dick? We kind of talked back and forth, and then I finally told him, what I was doing. He said, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. I just nominated him for this award. So Chief Glessner and I did not realize that the other one was nominating Dick for an award.
I became a fire instructor in 1980. Back then, we kind of went to the different stations for the classes. There was no training facility like we have today. The majority of the classes then were just the 36-hour volunteer firefighter course in the state of Ohio. And this facility started at the FDIC, Fire Department Instructors Conference, when it was still held in Cincinnati, Ohio in the late 80s. And there was a group of us that would go to that every year, and we were sitting around one evening and deciding, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have buildings where you could do search and rescue and put ladders up and things like that. And lo and behold, after a few more years, we found out that there was some land available, and we were able to purchase 60 acres for $1. I help in the fire classes, primarily in the Fire 1 and Fire 2 classes that we do here at our Wayne County Regional Training Facility. I am our fire charter skills coordinator. A lot of my time throughout the course is getting ready for the test day, but I do help out where needed.
He is what all of us want to be as an instructor. All of our instructors look up to him. He's able to take his experience and take the knowledge from the books and all of that and use it to teach the students and make it at a level that they can understand. Whether they're coming in as a first-time firefighter, if they're coming in as an experienced firefighter with 20 years and they're trying to move up through their education. He's able to meet each of them and relate to them.
I'd like to say thanks to those individuals that have nominated me for this award. I appreciate them turning my name in, and it'll be something that I'll never forget.
And so, for the second time today, Chief Glessner, please come forward to accept your Ohio Fire Service Instructor of the Year Award. Now, moving on with the Dick Glessner Show. The Ohio Fire Officer of the Year Award honors an Ohio fire officer who has demonstrated outstanding leadership characteristics and has made a major impact on the fire service at the local and regional level. This year, that person is Josh Harrison.
I've known Josh probably for 22 years or more. He's a leader within his organization, and that makes him a leader within the county.
Honestly, in my opinion, there is nobody that's more deserving than Josh. He's a very humble person. When he found out that he received this award, right away he tried to push it off to others to make everybody else feel like they got the award rather than himself receiving the award.
I started right out of high school, and nobody in my family was in the fire service. So this was just something that I thought looked fun, and once I started volunteering, I realized that it was fun and something that I wanted to do as a lifelong career. The passion for me is seeing the change in people, especially when it comes to the leadership part. I think all of us get into the fire service to help the public, but when we talk about leadership roles, I think it is fun to watch those who you serve with rise up through the ranks and you to have a part in that. And so I really enjoy helping others succeed.
Josh is, I think, the same person at home as he is here at the fire department. He comes home at 8 in the morning after his 24-hour shift and just jumps in and helps get our little one off to school and does all the dad things that a great dad would do.
He was one of the founding members of the First Responders Peer Support Group. Together, that group, with a part of Josh's leadership, formed a nonprofit group. For us, the mental health awareness is not just fire service runs and EMS runs. We're impacted by what everybody else in this world is impacted by, is family, and maybe it's monetary, maybe it's just stress outside of the fire service.
Like everything else in the fire service, nothing is ever accomplished by a single person. It is always a collective team effort. Quite honestly, in some ways I feel bad for accepting it because there are so many good officers in this state that it landed on me. So I'm happy to accept it on behalf of all of the great officers that we have in this state.
So happy to see the attention that's being paid to mental health. Captain Harrison, please come up and accept your Ohio Fire Officer of the Year Award. The Ohio Fire Prevention Educator of the Year Award honors an Ohio fire prevention educator who has demonstrated innovative, outstanding teaching characteristics, and because of these attributes, has made a major impact on the field of fire prevention in his or her community. And we are proud to introduce you right now to Bradley Flora and the moving story behind his work.
Without a doubt, in my mind, Brad is responsible for saving countless lives based off of his prevention activities and his public education.
He doesn't just do the job
He finds opportunities and he follows through to the 10th degree.
One day I noticed all these special needs kids leave, and I'm like, well, cool, they're going outside, they're going to go out, play, whatever, and like, no, we get them out 10 minutes prior before the fire alarm goes off. Because once the fire alarm goes off, some of their sensory needs are not met, and they really are agitated by bright lights, the flashing lights, the louds, the horn strobes. And I asked them, I said, so has this ever happened where you accidentally had a fire alarm, or for real you had one? And they did, and they had a kid, they had to chase him down and found him hiding in the bathroom. And I reached out to a couple different fire alarm companies and said, I'm looking for a fire alarm panel that I can turn the strobe off, I can adjust the horn strobe, the AV, so we can educate them, but not scare them. And then I developed a program and I reached out to the school. We would set the fire alarm off at low, and I'd show them when I hit the pull station, when I'd pull it, it's not that bad. And then as we gradually talked, and over an hour or so, we would turn that volume up till it was full volume. And by the end of it, most of these kids, they're looking at it and saying, that's not scary. That I can handle that. Now, I don't like it. It still messes with me. But if I hear that, I know I don't go hide.
Brad can easily drop back to that age frame, get the information out to them that they need to hear it in the way they need to hear it.
He cares. You can't create that in an employee. It has to be within him.
I've known him for several years, and Brad lives this lifestyle. He is always very talented in the way he comes up with different scenarios or activities to make sure that the children are getting the information, or individuals are getting the information that they need.
He's the right guy to get an award like this.
To me, education is number one. If we're out there educating people, making people understand why, that's a big thing. If you educate why, the rest of it will work.
I love that story so much. Thank you so much for caring for our special children. William Bradley Flora. Congratulations, Inspector. The Ohio Fire Educator Lifetime Achievement Award honors an Ohio fire educator who has demonstrated innovative, outstanding teaching characteristics, there's that word again, and has made a major impact on the field of fire service at the local, regional, or national level. Meet Phil McLean.
My grandfather was one of the founders of the Bath Fire Department. They actually built the first Bath fire truck in his barn during the war. Maybe that's what pushed me forward. It was all volunteer for many, many years. I never became full-time until 1998. I was fire instructor in 1982, taught many classes, continued to teach classes around the county, joined Ohio State firefighters, did educational classes for them, continued my fire education at the University of Akron, ended up running the training center for fire at the University of Akron Hazardous Materials Division. I did that for 15 years full-time, and then became full-time at Richfield Fire. To see the people at Richfield now with 12 full-time people, a full-time chief, assistant chief, and inspector, they all have the passion to do the job, and to see that move along as the needs of the community grew and to see what had to happen, it's really a good thing.
First met Phil about 2005. We served on the state firefighter training subcommittee together. It was a committee that wasn't very active until Phil came, and then things changed, and things changed dramatically.
I know Chief Jim Steele and I worked many years to restructure the rules, to change the way the fire service did training, And the goal was to produce a better firefighter. That's what we always ended up with.
So he was a driving force behind changing a lot of what we saw in firefighter rules that affect the state of Ohio, including continuing education for the fire service, something we didn't have before then. He's well motivated, and he's well spoken, he's well educated.
For me, it's all about having a passion in whatever you're doing. Having a passion in the fire service, having a passion as a fire instructor, having a passion as a fire inspector.
One of the things we know about Phil was that he doesn't dream small. If we're going to do something, we're going to do it right, and it's going to be what we want it to be.
It's all about having a passion. Phil McLean, please come up and accept your Ohio Fire Educator Lifetime Achievement Award. Time now for the award for Ohio Fire Department of the Year. Now, this award honors an Ohio Fire Department that has demonstrated outstanding teaching characteristics and, because of these attributes, has made a major impact in fire education and in their community and the department. This year, the award goes to a department in the Dayton area, the Washington Township Fire Department.
The Washington Township Fire Department is a leader in our region, and frankly, we're a leader in the state of Ohio and in our country. Our crews each and every day provide top quality service to our residents with compassionate care.
Community engagement with the Washington Township Fire Department has always been a huge focus of the entire department. We start out with young children in daycares, preschools, all throughout the school age, but we also focus on adult safety. And expanding our social media has allowed us to have a much bigger reach than we would have in the first place. Through those safety messages and videos, they can get liked and shared and commented, and it just reaches out, not only here in Washington Township and Centerville, but throughout the state and beyond. When the community couldn't necessarily get out too much, we were able to celebrate one of our residents' 105th birthdays by sending some crews outside of her house as well. Happy birthday to you. One of our friends and partners in Santa Claus was able to ride around in the back of a fire engine as we toured the community. It was a great time for everybody to come out along our mapped routes and bring the kids out and wave to Santa Claus for the night.
We have the most credentialed officers in the state of Ohio, and that leads into our succession planning, where we can assure that our people are prepared for the next step as they rise up through the ranks.
All of our officers here have at least an associate's degree. Some have bachelor's, master's, and we have somebody working on their doctorate right now. We also do tuition reimbursement for members.
Professional credentialing gives them a roadmap for success in the future. This award is really about the women and men of this department. They work continuously, extremely hard to serve our community and assure that we have the best fire department in the state of Ohio.
On behalf of Washington Township, we want to thank our crews for what they do each and every day and for the honor of receiving this statewide award.
Could we please have the Washington Township Fire Department step forward to receive your award? Okay, so who's minding the store? If all you guys are here, please tell me someone is protecting Washington Township. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. I have to say something. I have never seen shinier shoes than every firefighter who has come up here today. What do you guys do? Does somebody do it for you? Do you make like the rookies do your shoes? Is that what you do? Oh, that must be it then, because you all look awfully guilty right there. Well, I just want to say congratulations to all of our winners. How about another round of applause for all of our award winners? Now, you know this is a very, very special program. First of all, if I'm here. But secondly, we have another very, very special guest who has joined us today. He's had a very busy day, but he has made time to come here to be with us. So if we could please have Governor Mike DeWine from the great state of Ohio join us up here for a few words. Governor? Remember me? It's great. How are you, house Fran? Tell him I said hi. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. I just wanted to stop by and thank all of you, and thank you for what you do. This was the state address which I gave today, and so we had some things afterwards, but I did want to stop by and just thank you. You know, if you look at the most trusted people in any community, members of the fire department, EMS, they're way, 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 way up here. And I think Ohio citizens understand that you're the ones who are there every single day, every single night, 24/7, to protect them. And they appreciate it very much. So on behalf of the citizens of Ohio, thank you. Congratulations to Washington Township. They're the winners today. I walked in time to see a couple of the videos, just great, very, very, very impressive. We live in a township. We live in Cedarville Township. We have a fire department that is just great, EMS great, staffed primarily by volunteers, many from local college, Cedarville University. We're blessed to have a lot of volunteers from there. I work, of course, in Columbus, and I'm in other cities, and so wherever I am, we're just grateful for what you do. I particularly want to thank you for the education outreach that you do. I think it's just very, very important. Reaching the community, it takes many different forms, some formal, some informal, but making people understand the importance of being careful, making people understand the importance of having the right equipment in the house as far as knowing when there's potentially a fire. So again, thank you. No long speech. I'll be here afterwards for a while. I'd love to talk with some of you, but just thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you to your families for their commitment. I'm just overwhelmed every time I go into a fire department. A few years ago, when I was in Congress, the U.S. Senate, I wrote the Fire Act along with Chris Dodd. And after that, I went out and was in many of your departments. I'm just always so impressed when I talk to the men and women who are there about the training you do, just constant what you do to stay up on everything that you need to stay up on. So we're very grateful. Thank you. Hope to have a chance to talk with a number of you afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Governor DeWine. We really appreciate you stopping by. I know you got a couple of other things to do today, but thank you so much for joining us. We now welcome Chaplain Larry Foster back to the stage. Where are you, Chaplain? Oh, there you are.
As we leave this place, may God bless you all with his peace and protect you with his strong right hand. Hear these words from the scriptures. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Let us be strong and confident, relying on him who is able to keep us, and not just us alone, but all those brother and sister firefighters and first responders who couldn't be with us today, but wherever they may be. For it is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. God bless you, each and every one of you, as you go. And may God's blessing be upon each and every first responder. Amen.
Thank you very much, Chaplain. And I want to thank everyone for allowing me to be a part of this event. It's very special. Thank you especially to the Ohio Department of Commerce, the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Ohio Emergency Medical Service, and special thanks to Tommy Andy Ellinger, wherever he is, and to Michael Gravely, who invited me, and to Katie for bringing me water when I needed it. Thank you, Katie. And on a personal note, I want to thank all the first responders of Ohio who put their lives on the line for us every single day. As I said at the beginning of the program, I've admired the work of these responders while covering fires and emergencies in the early and even the later days of my career in TV. But it was my own fire in January of 1988 that really brought your work, your hard work, and your courage up close and personal to me. To watch these brave souls go into my burning apartment building while I was struggling to get out of that burning building, a building that I had really just watched go up in flames, to watch them go in and search for survivors and put out those flames and make sure that I was okay. I tell you, it changed me. It made the experience real for me. It wasn't just about covering a fire, it was being in the fire and relying on you guys to take care of me and make sure that I was okay. I found out firsthand just how special all you public servants are, which is why firefighters will always have a very special place in my heart. As my firefighter buddy, Bill Russell, Dr. Fire, always said, "Yeah, girl, you're running out of the burning building while we're running in." So I thank you all very much for that. Please be safe out there on every call and shift and make sure you get home safely. And now with closing remarks, State Fire Marshal Kevin Reardon.
Thank you, Angela. Let me thank everybody again for being with us today to celebrate all of these wonderful accomplishments and acts. Personally, I've got to tell you, I am truly humbled to be here with all of you today because we're celebrating really good things. And these good things are done throughout Ohio every day, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. So thank all of you awardees for doing what you do. I also want to take a moment to thank Governor DeWine for being here with us after a very, very busy day that he's had. I also want to thank Director Maxfield for being with us, Director Stickrath, and Assistant Director Huey for being with us. We have great support from both of these state departments. The leadership is wonderful, and that helps us do our jobs better. I mean, that's a perfect recipe for success. I also want to thank some other state representatives that might have stuck in and state senators. Thank you for being here with us today. We enjoy working with you on a variety of issues and really appreciate you taking time to be here with us today, so thank you very much. And last but not least, an event like this does not happen without a lot of effort and planning, and it doesn't happen with the snap of your fingers either. There are a lot of details to this event, so I want to extend my appreciation to the Department of Commerce team and the Division of EMS team in Public Safety. They all have worked diligently for the last year or so to put this event together. Their dedication and their commitment to planning and preparing for this event, as wonderful as it is truly inspiring. And please, please remember to go back and tell everybody about this event so that we can make it even bigger and better next year. I want to thank all of Ohio's Fire Service, again, for your dedication and commitment. We've had a rough couple of years. We've been kicked and beaten and tossed around, but like I said earlier, you figured it out. That's what we do. You know, we operate with the least accurate information, and we try to find a way to make it work, and we did. So thank you all for doing that. I want to encourage everybody to stay and enjoy the reception afterwards. We have a beautiful backdrop that we made special just for this event. We encourage all of the awardees and family members and other peers to please take advantage of that. And once again, thank you all for being here with us today. And please, when you leave here and go back home, stay safe. Thank you all very much.